This is a 86 CR125. I didn't see a whole lot out there as far as how to time up this power valve. The first gen ATAC. This is a lot of people out there that say it doesn't do anything. I just can't bring myself to believe that. So I'm going to put this thing together and make sure it's working properly. And then we'll be the judge of that, when the time comes. So the way the system works, with the clutch cover on, this lever is pushed in by that little, it's got a big ass spring, looks like a clutch release spring in the clutch cover. So at low RPM, up to a certain threshold, that push rod is in that position, which is full extension, limited by the governor right there. So the way this thing runs is with that pushed in, geez, I guess I'll have to use the other hand. With that pushed in, with the cover installed, yeah, maybe I can even put the cover on. Basically what happens is, man, maybe I can do this with just two hands. Maybe I can get it. There you go. You can just barely see it. So with the cover on, it's going to open that valve up just about that much. At higher RPM, when the little ramp cup, ball, ramp, dealio, when that mechanism actuates, it's going to overcome the spring force and it's going to release this lever and it's going to allow that little flapper to close. The trick with this system, as far as I can tell, I don't have a service manual. There's no real markings like on the newer bikes. There's no lines. There's no dots punched into shit. It's just kind of like, you can put it together wrong, any number of different ways. The main issue is when you're putting this valve assembly on, you got to be careful with the position of there's a little gear, and that little gear, there's a rack behind this. This is actually the stopper. So when it's in the full open position, that rack kind of butts up against that, and you can use that to set the fully open, well, I guess fully closed position. The high RPM position, the rack bumps up against that stop and limits the travel, which is what it's in right now. That's the high RPM position. This little guy's been able to fully extend, and the valve is fully open. So that's what you're looking for. Now, with the clutch cover on, which is presumably how you're going to be putting this together, this valve does not open to its full rotation. All you can really expect to get out of this thing is somewhere in that range. That's about what you get with the clutch cover on, and with this thing timed up the way it is now, it'll fully close, which is the most important thing. At high revs, if you want this thing to rip, if this doesn't fully close, you're not going to get a whole lot of top end out of this thing. These are already kind of slow, so you need all your horsepower. So with the clutch cover on, you want to install this so that ATAC valve is pretty much right about like that, somewhere in there. Hell, I'll even put the clutch cover on and demonstrate. If I may put my phone down for just a moment, I'll show you the way I've got it set up. And I've been playing with this for a little while now, a hot minute, just to see if there's a more optimal position. There's one spot that's going to be the best spot, and I think this is it. There's other spots that are not going to work, or not going to work very well. There we go. Clutch cover's on. No gasket, but it's not going to make a hell of a lot of difference. With the clutch cover on, if we look inside of here, yeah, see, that's about as open as that valve is going to get. So I've gone to the next position. There's not that many teeth on that little gear. It's like 6 or 7 teeth on that gear. So one tooth is actually a pretty huge, if it's 6 teeth, one tooth is 60 degrees of rotation. So you really don't have a whole lot to work with here in terms of, it's either here, or it's going to be way over that way, or it's going to be pretty much closed. So this is the low RPM position. The valve is open, and I believe it's open enough to have to do what it's supposed to do.